Good, beautiful morning, family, and welcome to Kingdom Moments. Today's focus is emotional control, giving God your emotions. But I say, walk in the Spirit, and you will not carry out the desires of the flesh. Galatians 5:16. Now, we come to the second lesson, in our 7-lesson series from the movie 7 Days in Utopia. And we saw in that first lesson, you must have conviction. Okay. Why do you believe what you believe? And can you show your proof? Now, it may seem like a mundane task, but the importance of knowing what you believe is imperative. The enemy is far too good at deception for us to leave that to chance, right? Now, the next thing that we learn is going to connect to our emotions. All right. Now, I know for myself that my emotions can run the gamut. I can be happy one minute and then sad and then mad, then irritated, then depressed. But in the same way that we ask, why do we believe what we believe? We need to start asking a similar question here. Why am I reacting the way I'm reacting? Okay, now hold on. This is a lesson for us who are truly at our wits' end with our emotions that pull us in different directions that we don't want to go. So in the movie, 7 Days in Utopia, as in golf, a player may be out on the course and have a bad hole. That's exactly what happened to the main character. Now, if he becomes or she becomes so focused on that bad hole, the rest of their round will be played just as poorly as that bad hole. Why? Well, because number one, his or her fleshly emotions are controlling their thoughts. They're focusing on what was behind them. Number two, he hasn't gotten past that bad hole, or she hasn't gotten past that bad hole, i.e., they haven't forgiven themselves for not keeping up to a standard that they wanted. Leave that there for a second. Now, on that one golf hole, he made a mistake. He missed the mark, which is interesting because that's the exact description of the word sin in the New Testament. He missed the mark. Why? Because he was looking at the past. Emotional control is not something you do. Emotional control is something we submit to Jesus. Okay? Every single day, there are traps set for us to fall into. Many of those traps are set around emotional responses, right? Our flesh adamantly wants what it wants. But what the flesh doesn't realize is that it is powerless and useless. The Word of God says so. Then how can I have such terrible outbursts? Because I default back to what I used to know, and I never get past the bad hole. I am not realizing that the power of God for him to use his emotions through me is available, and that I do not need to be a prisoner to my fleshly emotions anymore because they're useless. They're powerless. And how do we know that they are fleshly emotions? How do I determine between the two? Here we go. Every single emotion that is going to say, you deserve, you should have, why this is owed to you. Those are all selfish, fleshly emotions. How do I know that? Jesus wouldn't say that. Well, I deserve. Well, I should have. Well, they owe me. Do not, beloved, do not fall into that trap. It's an age-old trap. It is the emotional trap that many, including the character in the movie, fall into. And every single time they do, we regret it. So, how do we control our emotions? How do we keep them in check? First things first, give yourself mercy. This is a process, okay? And this process is not about you being perfect overnight. This is about growing closer to your Father in heaven. It really isn't about how well you can hold yourself up or how much emotional control you have. This is all about you growing closer to your Father. The closer we are to Him, the more He works through us. Now, hear me now. Emotional control is not a lost cause. Just because the flesh wants to throw itself out there doesn't mean that it's always going to take control of your life. For us to say that we are always going to be a product of our emotions is a fatalistic approach. And it also places no trust in what God can do. But again, the emotions behind those words are fatalistic, aren't they? Right? So, your first practice lesson, all right, with emotional control is to go to your Father right now and express exactly what it is that you struggle with and what you need to do for you for the day. Is there a revelation? He needs to take over, whatever it is. The first practice lesson we will talk about in more detail tomorrow, Lord willing, because there is a literal and there is a practical way that God has given us for you to use your spirit, your mind of Christ, the spirit you have, and your mouth, and defeat the flesh once and for all. Interested? Come on back. I love you, family, capital ILY, and I will talk to you soon, Lord willing. Take care. God bless. Love you.